Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another On Point Nutrition webinar. Tonight's theme is movement and balance with the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday upon us. Feels like it's going to be like Christmas and New Year's next week. But in case we haven't met yet, my name is Leslie. I'm one of the registered dietitians with On Point. Little background on me: I completed my undergrad at Penn State, received my master's in human nutrition from Drexel, and completed my residency at Yale New Haven up in Connecticut. I'm a former cancer researcher at UPenn and a former sports dietitian for the Philly Eagles and the University of Minnesota football teams. I've been working in private practice for quite some time now and joined the On Point team at the beginning of 2021. If you're just joining us for the first time, On Point Nutrition is a virtual nutritional counseling company. We're a qualified team of dietitians and nutritionists who provide personalized programs to help everyone reach their individualized health goals. We always work at the pace you need to help you regain confidence and lead a healthier lifestyle. So that's just the facts about me and On Point, but I guess I should say I'm a big holidays girl. So this webinar is right up my alley. I host Thanksgiving myself. That's one of my traditions, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope that after this talk, it has you feeling the same way. I'd like to invite you to put any questions or any additional tips, suggestions you might have into the chat, and I'll address them at the halfway point and then again at the end. But this should be a fun chat. We're just going to talk about holidays and kind of get into the spirit. I'm glad you guys are all here. Alrighty. So holiday season can be really fun, exciting time, but for many it feels very stressful and draining time of year. In fact, the leading holiday stressor among Americans is the perceived lack of time. Money, commercialism, the hype around holidays, family gatherings, staying on a diet, travel, and children were other notable mentions. But we want to try to avoid that and not feel burnt out going into the holiday season. So tonight we'll chat a little bit on ways to continue to find time to prioritize movement and also to remain feeling an overall balance and fulfillment as we welcome in the holiday season. So before we start our chat, and hopefully before you begin your Turkey Day preparations, I want to challenge you to think about this question. What will really make you feel like this Thanksgiving was a successful event? What does that actually look like? Once you have your image and your vision in mind, determine whether your markers for success are internal or external. An external marker might be judging success based on other people's happiness and expectations, and an internal marker would be more about judging the event based on your own happiness and your own expectations. If your markers are mostly external, how might you begin to reframe those expectations such that they're more related to your own happiness? Something that you can actually control. The cliche saying, because it's true, is where our attention goes, our energy flows. So if your attention is completely on others and their needs, then there's little energy left for your own fuel and own happiness tanks. I'll preface this by saying there's really no right or wrong way to celebrate the holidays, but set your intention and then take from this presentation whatever resonates with you to support your own vision. All right, so during the holidays, people in the United States are much more likely to say they behave in sedentary ways, like watching TV, sleeping, eating, and they do this as a way to manage stress. Many individuals engage in comfort eating and other unhelpful behaviors to cope with stress levels, but exercise is one of the most underused ways to manage stress. So let's chat on that. I frame our chat into 4 different parts around the holiday, those parts being the days leading up to Thanksgiving, actual Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, and then the remaining days of that holiday weekend. So first up, let's chat movement leading up to Turkey Day. So as a part of our On Point check-in calls, we focus a great amount of time on food and nutrition, but movement is another important part of living a healthy lifestyle. As we enter the holiday season, obligations and social engagements really start to ramp up while the amount of time we have in a day stays the same. It's helpful to have a plan for movement and fitness, and this is something that can be discussed on weekly calls with your dietitian or nutritionist. But here are some things to start thinking about. So if you're someone who's been following a workout plan or a cadence for some time now, this slide is for you. This is ideas for keeping up with structured fitness that's more like a designated workout. So I always say, holidays upon us, plan to keep your normal fitness regimen for as long as you possibly can to continue with that forward momentum and maintain a sense of consistency and stability throughout what could otherwise be a pretty turbulent or changing time. If you know your holiday week's going to be jam-packed, you may want to potentially front-load fitness into your week to give yourself greater peace of mind. So if you know you're going to be traveling and out of state and not near your normal gym and probably also eating more than you usually would, the days leading up to it, I'd try to be really consistent in my fitness patterns. If timing is challenging, consider waking up earlier than to honor your fitness schedule, or you could always reduce your workout length or shift it at home fitness instead of leaving and having a commute to a gym or a commute to a track or a group fitness class and center. Do something in your own home. Save yourself that 15 to 20 minutes sort of thing. If you're working one-on-one with a trainer, I would definitely encourage you to let them know your schedule. They may be able to accommodate and edit your normal workout routines to really allow for more full body workouts instead of maybe you were doing like arms one day, legs one day, chest and back another day. Maybe they can do more full body so you can reduce the amount of times you're going to the gym, but still covering everything you'd like to. And then of course you want to listen to your body. So if you feel fatigued or overstressed, and it's better to honor how you feel than push through and potentially cause an injury. Could be an opportunity for you to embrace a new type of movement. So I talk about flexibility, mobility work, stretching, foam rolling a lot with clients. So maybe lean into more of that if you're feeling too stressed to do a weightlifting or a challenging HIIT class. I'll also say if you're taking group fitness classes or you need to reserve time at your gym because of COVID, sign up in advance and put that time or class schedule into whatever your calendar is. If you have a work calendar, block it off. The more likely you are to actually attend something if you make it and treat it like a doctor's appointment or a work meeting. All right, so that's movement leading up to Thanksgiving in a very structured way. But there are plenty of ways to get in movement outside of structured workouts. Lots of fun fall and holiday specific options listed here. So especially if you're someone who's hosting or doing a bunch of cooking, bringing sides, do your grocery shopping in person. I know Instacart and Amazon Fresh have become the way of the world, especially with the pandemic. But if you feel comfortable, I would encourage you to actually go to the store, walk the aisles, walk that perimeter, get your steps in, and maybe park farther away when you get there to, again, increase the amount of movement you're getting without really changing much of your schedule. Raking leaves, cleaning up for family to come and visit you. So a lot of yard work, do your like fall clean out so the house is ready and winterized. House cleaning activities, vacuuming, dusting, things that get you moving around the house. I would set some music and do my chores to that because generally if you put on some rap or hip hop or whatever you like to listen to, it gets you moving a little bit quicker. You can always take your dog for longer walks, hike, check out the beautiful leaves as they continue to turn, hang outdoor Christmas lights, volunteer. The opportunities are really kind of endless, but movement doesn't have to be sweaty or in a gym for your body to register that you were on the go. So any type of movement is going to benefit your body when compared to the alternative of being sedentary. And then I know we have a lot of people who tend to travel for Thanksgiving. So if you will be in the airport or train station leading up to the holiday, this slide is for you. In airports and train stations, little things you can do. Opt for the stairs and walking instead of using those moving escalators. If you're staying in a hotel, I always talk with clients about investigating the amenities that hotel has before going. So if they have a pool, if they have a fitness center, those are the nice things to be aware of so you can plan to utilize them. If you're staying with family or at an Airbnb, again, assess whether your area has a local gym or a studio where you could get a day or week pass to use their facilities. A lot of people that have memberships to fitness studios, like in Orange Theory, you may be able to attend classes in a different city without any change in charge or to your membership. And always plan to bring comfortable clothing or workout clothing so that if you have the opportunity to be active, there's nothing going to be in your way. You may not know your exact itinerary, maybe your host is planning things, but at least if you have your sweats, you can make it happen. should you have the chance. And then if driving, pack your normal gym bag. Pack whatever you need that you would normally utilize to make a fitness session happen. This kind of takes the excuse of, I'm away from home, I can't work out, I don't have what I need, off the table. So get rid of all those barriers so you can have a clear right away to fitness. All right, so that was leading up to Thanksgiving. What about on actual Turkey Day? Like, what are people doing? How can we get movement in on a day that's traditionally associated with a lot of food? So I always say that a holiday is a great opportunity to consider setting a new tradition, one that's maybe not revolving around food. So some options on Turkey Day: you could attend or participate in a local parade. They have tons of those. Turkey trots or fun runs and walks. I'm sure you've seen the headbands and the t-shirts on people from different years. That could be you. Maybe you can get your family to sign up. If you're more like Midwest, hockey is pretty big out there. So some street or touch football could be, or street hockey could be a fun alternative. And then obviously Thanksgiving is very much associated with football. So having a flag or a touch football game before dinner could be a fun way to kind of work up that appetite for the meal. Walking, hiking, all that good stuff. I'll also say that get the kids to join in. Whatever the kids are doing, generally, if they're happy, they're excited about it, you can usually get the other people that maybe wouldn't necessarily be on board with some sort of fitness into the idea of it. So relay races, driveway chalking, playing tag, you could be the person that kind of encourages the kids to get movement in, and then maybe you can get like your grumpy Uncle Sam or your aunt to kind of join in too, because the kids are so excited about it. Cornhole, bags, those are some typical fun ways to get outdoors. Or you could just look into local activities, especially if you're traveling. Like, what is the city known for? Can you use the fancy ice skating rink before you have your meal? Do they have a park with a great disc golf course? And then lesser things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily consider as fitness. What about charades? Like having game night at the end of the Thanksgiving meal, so you have people getting up and moving around instead of sitting on the couch and drinking and eating. And always volunteering is a really nice way to make you feel good, help others, and get out of the house. Otherwise, interesting factoid, women are nearly twice as likely as men to say that they will do the work necessary to pull off the multi-course turkey dinner. They'll do the shopping for the food, they do the cooking, they do the cleaning of the dirty dishes. So if that's not you, if you're not the cook, then why not offer to be the gopher? The person that runs the errands, the person that cleans up at the end, or you act as sous chef in the preparation stage and you're doing some chopping. Put yourself on cleanup duty. Again, those like housework things that we don't necessarily think of as like fitness or movement, they'll get you moving around a kitchen. Another fan favorite is utilizing TV commercials as an opportunity to get a little simple aerobics and body weight exercises in. Again, this is something that you want to get the kids on board with, kind of make it into a game. So since it's Thanksgiving, kind of kickoff of the holiday season, you'll probably hear a lot of Black Friday commercials and car commercials. So maybe every time you hear the words Black Friday, you're doing 5 jumping jacks. Or for the football game watchers, every time your team scores a touchdown, make a game of it and celebrate with a victory dance or like a simple exercise. And then of course, we can always just use our feet and actually walk over to our neighbor's house and say Happy Thanksgiving in person instead of texting them or sending a mass email. It might be nice to actually get a little FaceTime in, especially after being in a period where we've had such minimal FaceTime. And if you have like a local shut-in, someone down the street who you know maybe wasn't celebrating Thanksgiving, it'd be nice to walk them down a plate. Okay, movement after Thanksgiving. So I should preface this by saying that you have to do what's best for you and your family here. If that's shopping, great. If that's not shopping, also great. But if you are planning to wake up early and get some present purchasing done, this is an opportunity to really get those steps in by choosing to shop in store instead of online. So walk the malls. That's a great thing you can do even when the weather gets funky outside and it's too cold to walk around your neighborhood. Malls are pretty big. You can walk the halls of a mall. And then I would say if you're able to, either skip the cart entirely and carry around whatever you're trying to purchase to kind of add resistance in that capacity, or be the person who volunteers to push the cart that's loaded with goods. So you're kind of adding resistance in a different way. Little like tips and tricks to kind of tweak things you're already going to do. And then this is a great day to look into local fitness studios and gyms because they'll often run Black Friday specials. They want to get in on the sales action as well. So if you've been thinking about joining F45, see if they are offering any promotions for the holiday. And then for my non-shopping people, this is a great day to utilize for recovery or as a catch-up day. So if you generally only have maybe like 30 minutes during a normal week to get a workout done, you've got more time today. So why not utilize this to do a workout that you generally wouldn't have the time to complete? Or use the downtime to try a new studio or a new class or something that you've been wanting to get into but keep putting off for lack of time. And if you're staying with family, you have family with you, recruit them, get them involved. Why not bond over quality time doing something that's movement associated instead of, again, like, oh, let's go out to eat. How about let's go catch that yoga class together? It'd be a really nice way to have some quality time and memory making. Alrighty, what else can we chat about? So outside of Black Friday, you can choose to use the remaining weekend days to your best advantage in terms of movement. So you don't have to plan for structured workouts each day to still prioritize moving and getting in steps. So look for opportunities to move and avoid being completely sedentary. So 2 main points here. I'd say if the holiday's over, if Thanksgiving Day has passed, then when it comes to being Saturday and Sunday, it doesn't have to be Thanksgiving Saturday where we continue to eat and eat and eat. It could be a day where you just kind of hop back into your normal routine. Because as soon as you know it, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's are all coming down the pipeline. And again, we'll be editing and making changes to try to rework your fitness schedule. So if you can hop right back into it as soon as possible, kind of set yourself up to have a nice little consistent foundation going into the next set of holidays. Always feels good to get moving after you've been out of routine too. And you can also take advantage of this extra time by, again, establishing some sort of new tradition. Maybe you can get the family together and you go and you walk a Christmas tree farm and you chop down a tree together, or you're putting outdoor Christmas lights up together, or you recruit the kids and you're taking down all the turkey decorations and going into the attic and getting the winter holiday ones. Little tweaks here and there can kind of like be a fun way to get the family involved, but still get you from sitting down, which we do plenty of otherwise. All right, so talked a little bit about movement. It's pretty simple concept. I mean, you don't have to look for tons of structure to make extra steps happen. It's all about taking what's going to work for your family and then looking for little opportunities to tweak it so that you're not sitting the whole time. Now we're going to move into the balance component of our chat. It's a little bit longer. A lot of the time, the focus of Thanksgiving is obviously on the food. In fact, on average, the typical American will consume upwards of 3,000 calories. That's about the average for that one meal. It goes all the way up to like 4,500. Significant amount of food in one day. But by working to manage stress, making intentional choices and preparations, and focusing energy elsewhere aside from just on the food, this gives you a chance to enjoy the day while keeping your health goals in mind. Alrighty, so again, breaking things down kind of into those 4 different components, first of which being the days leading up to Thanksgiving. So plan for the holiday. Go into it with some sort of schedule or plan in mind, so you're more likely to stay on track. I'll preface this by saying you deserve downtime. So many of us let our PTO just like continually run over, or we lose it because we are workaholics often. So I'd say if you're able to, utilize your PTO and request off well in advance to ensure you have the time with loved ones. And then decide what type of Thanksgiving celebration would bring you the most joy and work the best for your family. So the idea of, should we have it at home where we're more likely to have leftovers? This could be a good and a bad thing. Maybe the leftovers serve as meal prep, or maybe it's too tempting to kind of have them around. It's also more work leading up to the holiday if you're the person that's having it at home. Versus maybe you should go the restaurant or catered route. You'd obviously need to solidify a reservation for this, but generally it's a one and done meal without leftovers lingering and being worried about those tempting you later on. It also gives you a bit more freedom to enjoy the meal without worrying about overindulging or having to manage preparation and cleanup. It's not generally, buffets are kind of a thing of the past with the pandemic, so it'll likely be a plated meal and you won't really have to worry about second helpings. So what's going to work for you? And then if you're someone who has multiple families that you like to see at the holidays, be mindful not to spread yourself too thin. It's really tough to do 3 Thanksgiving meals all in one day, or dessert at grandma's, drinks at your aunt and uncle's, your husband's house for appetizers. Decide how you're going to portion your time. And it's okay to perhaps adopt a strategy where you do Thanksgiving at one house and Christmas at another, and then you flop the next year and you're doing Christmas at that first house and then Thanksgiving at another, sort of thing. I always would encourage you to conduct a time and energy audit too. So what I mean by this is decide what is it worth for you to actually complete yourself versus what are things you feel comfortable delegating to others to save yourself a little bit of time and hopefully open up opportunities to do things like get some more movement in. And then again, where you're kind of front loading fitness into your weeks, front load the week of Thanksgiving with self-care. It's a notoriously stressful, lovely, but stressful holiday. So if you know you're going to see family members who can be kind of triggering, make sure you have that facial or some good meditation sessions leading up to it. And then consider small tweaks that might make stressful to-do list tasks more enjoyable. So I know that I am much more excited to decorate my house and do the dishes or clean or prepare for guests when I have really great music playing, when I have like a scented candle piping throughout the house or aromatherapy diffuser, whatever it is. Like those little things can kind of give you a small bit of peace of mind in an otherwise stressful scenario. So if you are the one that's hosting at home, decide on your guest list, consider any familial stressors that might be involved by inviting certain guests. And it might help to plan to assign people spots at the dinner table if certain guests have a bit of tension between them. If you choose the seats for those individuals, you can create the space for both parties and you don't need to worry about drama as much as if the guests ended up sitting next to each other. You're also going to want to do a little prep in terms of writing a menu for the event and make your grocery and to-do lists. When making your menu, this might be a good time to expose family, especially kids, to a new food item. So consider adding a new vegetable to the party this year. Or you can always opt to add extra veggies into staple foods like stuffing, or doing a mixture of cauliflower and potato in the mashed potatoes. The On Point crew can get you started with some healthy holiday recipe ideas. And all attendants tonight are actually going to get our tips for a feel-good holiday season ebook. This is a great place to start when you're working on your menu. We've got a lot of like healthified traditional sides. In addition to making your shopping list, check your pantry and fridge. See what you already have. There's a chance that you already have that ingredient that you use one time a year and you probably don't need to rebuy it. This kind of saves you from that overbuying and it helps with the finances of a holiday. And then I would always encourage you to try to meal prep to have healthy, balanced meals leading up to the holiday. You know the holiday is probably going to take you outside your norm, but if you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday feeling like you're eating your normal breakfast, your normal lunch, you'll probably feel a lot more stable and confident going into the day where you're going to make some choices that you wouldn't usually. And that's something your dietitian or nutritionist can totally help you with. If you're not hosting, but you will be going and you want to bring a side or a dessert, bring something that I would say is like a safe food, something that you feel confident eating. It could totally be that the crudité platter, or it could be something fun like caprese skewers or fruit and dip. I don't know, whatever you feel like you'll feel solid enjoying, and it won't take you outside your norm too much, and you can always kind of like fall back on that food item at the spread. And then if you're someone who's traveling, to mitigate any down to the wire stress, you'll want to ensure that your car service, if you're doing a road trip, or your tickets and flights are purchased well in advance of travel dates. Because of all the COVID stuff that's going on now, you'll probably want to make sure you have your COVID testing either set up or completed before going. Making packing lists can be your best friend, whether it's just like a note on your phone or something you write in Word. Have an area where you know, like, I can tick the box. I brought my phone charger. I brought Aunt Sally's casserole dish, or whatever you need to bring. And then devise a plan for travel snacks and meals, especially if you're going to be on the road for a while. And at airports nowadays, not everything's open. A lot of the restaurants still have not reopened with COVID. And even when they are all open, it's not always the greatest choices. So to kind of feel like you're still on track with everything, you probably want to strategize. Either are you bringing snacks, or where do you feel confident going to get a good meal? Again, something your dietitian could kind of help you plan for. All right, actual turkey day. So we chatted a little bit about this at the start of our talk. How are we going to keep Thanksgiving balanced? First and foremost, I would say decide your intention. This is a day where you can choose to stay consistent with your health goals. That's great. Or maybe it would better serve you to kind of take a little bit of a mental break from tracking food and making always the healthiest choice to allow for a little bit more food freedom. There's no right or wrong, but I would say come up with whatever you feel confident as your intention for the holiday. If you know that you're going to encounter relatives who make really triggering comments, consider practicing some scenarios and potential responses beforehand. So totally okay to set some personal boundaries and let people know that comments about your food choices, your portions, your body are not okay and not appreciated. And I always like to talk with clients about having a go-to no thank you sentence when there's food pushers involved. People get a little bit, could be offended if you say no thank you, I don't want a second helping of your pie, or I don't want to have whatever side dish doesn't really agree with you. So having some sort of like go-to no thanks phrase can be really helpful. A lot of times I'll tell people, like, hey, if you have to, fall back on the idea of like, I'm allergic to that, or it doesn't agree with me, because generally people don't try to push you when you bring your health involved into it, and saying that there's like GI issues or whatnot. And then going to the dinner or hosting it, either or, plan to wear something you feel really comfortable in. I know a lot of times people have get like a special outfit for Thanksgiving, and then they go to try it on after ordering it online and they don't really like how it looks. Don't wear that. Wear something that you feel confident in. When you feel good, you make better choices. And then this is a great day to kind of honor balance by taking a break from screens and technology. You can make it just the day, just the Thanksgiving meal. No one really wants to see their cousin texting at the table on such a special event. Put the screen down, and it allows you to be a little bit more present and mindful and actually enjoy the event for what it is, and not just for the food or for like getting lost in transient moments on the screens. More on actual turkey day. So I would say this is a great opportunity for you to plan to have normal meals leading up to the Thanksgiving dinner or lunch, or however your family celebrates it. I always generally tell clients to focus on having a protein and veggie heavy couple of meals beforehand, knowing that the traditional Thanksgiving meal is super heavy on the starches and fats, and you'll likely get plenty of that later on, but maybe won't get plenty of veggies and lean protein. So let's front load those into our day. And then always hydrate. I am a big believer in hydration and water, and that's going to help flush out some of the extra salt and extra sugars and all that extra stuff that you're probably about to eat. And at least then you won't go into the event dehydrated or really hungry and starving, because you'll at least have some water in your system to kind of help account for all of that. And we often perceive hunger or thirst as hunger first. So having water can like ensure that you actually are checking in with your real hunger cues. And then this kind of goes without saying, but you really want to focus on the quality time with loved ones instead of the food or any familial anxieties that the holiday can bring. If appetizers are being served, be mindful of your portions and choices. I always tell clients to plan to plate whatever you're going to eat. It's so easy to grab something while you're walking through the kitchen and eat it and put it in your mouth and like not really even register that you ate it. So you don't have to say no to the appetizers, but actually be mindful and enjoy them. So anything you're going to eat, I would say put it on a plate and try to sit down and eat it instead of like walking around the house and talking to Uncle Bob. And again, you didn't really notice you even ate it. And you can always offer to bring that safe food and share an appetizer. So crudité, fruit skewers, hummus, and Greek yogurt dips, roasted Brussels sprout chips. You can get as creative or uncreative as you want. Your dietitian can kind of help you come up with great ideas here. And this will be a theme throughout many of these slides, but be mindful of alcohol intake. You might want to consider setting a personal drink count or a time of day spent drinking. So maybe like, I'm going to honor that I want to stay true to my goals, and I'm only going to drink from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. because I know if I've been drinking for 3 hours, that 8 p.m., 9 p.m. region, things could get a little dicey and inhibitions can lower. You don't have to set that, but this is something where you can kind of figure out what works best for you. But I would encourage you to be extra mindful of alcohol. Okay, the actual mealtime that was kind of like leading up to Thanksgiving dinner. Now we're at the table, the turkey's on the platter. What are we doing? I would encourage you to be the person that either shares a blessing or you lead that I'm thankful for activity where everyone kind of goes around the table and says something they're thankful for. It really puts the emphasis on the holiday and less on the food. If you're able to select your own portions, I would do so. If your entree is like being served to you pre-plated, then assess the portions when you get your plate. Decide whether or not you feel comfortable with them. There might be something where you may choose from the beginning, like, I don't think I need this big old portion of potatoes. I'm probably going to eat just half. But decide that. Take a minute and look and register and assess things. If you do get to plate your own meal, I always tell people, like, look at the whole buffet first, or look at the whole table and all the side dish offerings first and decide, like, what are must-haves? Like, I definitely need to have my grandma's green bean casserole, but I can probably pass on the roll because I get rolls like any night of the week sort of thing. And look for any small compromises that you can make to honor your health goals. So some small tweaks might be choosing the white meat without skin and choosing the dark meat with skin on, or opting for the roasted and steamed veggie entrees or side dishes instead of the creamy casserole veggies. Skip the bread and rolls to enjoy the stuffing, those kind of ideas. You can leave some white space on your plate. It doesn't need to be a volcano or a mountain of food. There's always time for second helpings. I'd say just be moderate when you first plate things up and be able to see a little bit of the plate on the bottom. You could also try to be mindful of the meal by putting your fork down between bites or even using your non-dominant hand to eat. Kind of slows you down a little bit. And again, you see our theme of be mindful of alcohol intake. And before loading up on your second helpings, take a minute to sit and digest, maybe have a conversation with who's ever next to you or across the table from you. Let your body and mind have a chance to actually recognize the fact that you've eaten so that you can really assess, how hungry am I? Do I need the seconds or should I save a little bit of room for dessert instead? And whenever able, remind yourself of the significance of the event and focus on the quality time component over the food. This is not meant to be an all-you-can-eat buffet. And a lot of these foods, it's not going to be the first or last time you've ever seen it. There's always going to be enough. There's always going to be another choice to have them again. Alrighty. Continuing with balance at the Thanksgiving meal. Now we're going into dessert though, the sweet spot of the day. Whenever able, try to create a buffer time between the meal and dessert. So maybe everyone like kind of gets up from the table and helps clean some dishes, or they go and watch a little bit of the football game. But give yourself that time to actually digest and again, assess like, am I actually hungry or am I eating so fast that I can't even tell that I'm not hungry and I just ate like a piece of pie and I'm already stuffed. So give yourself that buffer if you're able to. Always be mindful of portions. Again, opt for the foods that you wouldn't always have the chance to eat otherwise in the year. If vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce is in your freezer all the time, maybe you don't need vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce at Thanksgiving, but maybe your Aunt Edna's pie is like number one. Definitely prioritize having something that's a little bit more special. And always, if you're able to, offer to serve dessert yourself. Dessert is one of those things where you might ask for a little sliver and you end up with a quarter of the pie. So if you get to choose your own portion, you obviously have a bit more control there. Be mindful of alcohol intake. Again, theme. And if you have family visiting with you, offer any leftovers that you might otherwise feel triggered or tempted by to them to take home. So it kind of gets it out of your home. Or you could always donate them. Meals on Wheels, things like that. Would be really happy to receive that. And then at the end of the night, a lot of people will sit down at the table and just keep eating, even though they're not hungry, but the leftovers are still out, or keep drinking. Why not remove yourself from the table and opt to continue the holiday fun over a group activity like a movie, trivia, charades to get a little bit of movement in. But again, it'll keep you from doing so much drinking and eating that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have done. All right. Balance after Thanksgiving and the holiday weekend. Again, Black Friday. You can shop, you cannot shop. It's up to you. Pick what's right for you guys. But money and the pressure of buying gifts are two very big stressors around the holiday season. So if you are someone that is deciding to participate in the Black Friday shopping, make a list of what you need versus what you want to purchase. Prioritize sales that you're not going to see at other times of the year. So if you know Macy's runs 20% off like every other month, then you probably don't need to get the whatever Macy's is offering for 20% off right now. And prioritize the bigger sales. And then if you're considering a bigger purchase, something maybe fitness or health related, this could be a good time to make that happen and work better with your budget. So maybe like a new cooking appliance, an air fryer, or a new treadmill, new fitness equipment. It's worth looking into. And if you're not shopping, then you can choose to utilize this day as a day off, a recovery day. Maybe that means catching up on things that you wouldn't get to otherwise, some household errands, a day to get a workout in, do some yoga for some recovery or some stretching, sleep in, catch up on Z's that you are sorely needing. And if you have family together, this would be a great time to consider talking with them about upcoming winter holidays and setting a plan or a budget so you can feel a little bit more confident about what the expectations are there. So it kind of helps with balance down the road and mitigating stress around gift buying. All right, rest of the weekend. How are we finding balance? In terms of food, this is a great opportunity to kind of take stock of what's in your fridge. Do you have leftovers from the Thanksgiving meal that you can use and repurpose for your upcoming meal prep? Or could we maybe do a fall clean out before the next set of winter holidays begin? So get things, check expiration dates of goods you might only be using in the winter months. Make sure everything's in a good place. So baking staples, holiday flavors, things like that. This is a nice time to purge and make space for foods that you may no longer be enjoying in your health journey. And then always a grocery shopping refresh and a meal prep could be really nice, especially if all you have hanging around the house is leftover pie and you need a little bit more fresh produce and things to work off for the week. Again, your dietitian can kind of help you create a plan to meal prep up to the holiday, and then after the holiday, potentially repurposing leftovers. In terms of family time, this is a great time to aim to have good conversations and involve social events more around quality time and less so about food and meals. So what might that look like? Maybe it's a game night, or it's going to Topgolf, or it's ice skating downtown to see the new light display, doing crafts, movie nights, things that kind of, again, put the emphasis more on activities and quality time instead of food and more food. Alrighty. So what else? What about self-care? This is a big chat topic I have on a lot of my calls. I generally ask clients to set a nutrition goal, a fitness goal, and then a self-care goal. So create an intention or a new set of goals that you'd like to honor before the winter holidays begin. Write them down and share them with someone else to kind of help keep you accountable. Things you can think about, like what went really well with this holiday? What might you like to change for next time? How will that sway your new intentions? And then use the downtime as an opportunity to initiate or refamiliarize yourself with a self-care practice. So meditation, breathing exercises, yoga, stretching. These are all things that people want to do during the regular year, but they're working Monday through Friday and don't really have the time for it. You've got a long weekend. this could be a great time to kind of cap the end of the year in a really positive way. And then I'll always encourage people to honor their bedtimes and normal sleeping habits. So easy to get off track with a holiday and stay up really late and then wake up late, and it really throws you off come Monday when you're going back to work. So it's helpful if you can use that weekend before the next work week to honor your normal bedtime and normal sleeping habits. Sleep helps reduce cortisol levels and stress hormone. Most adults aren't getting enough sleep, so being as habitual as you can about sleep hygiene and routines is really helpful to make sure that the sleep that you do get is quality sleep. All right. Oops, sorry about that. So remaining weekend days, if you are a traveler, I would encourage you to visit really inspiring and comforting attractions or places that don't always necessarily have access to at home. So if you're a college kid and you're going back home and you love your home gym, go there. Visit a place that you really love. Or if you're traveling somewhere out of state to visit family and there's a really great park nearby, check it out. Again, we're putting the emphasis on activities and leaving the house and doing things instead of eating things. If you're flying, then prepare to have a healthy snack available to you, or create a plan for airport restaurants and the timing of meals around flights. I love talking about air travel with clients. Altitude impacts your metabolism, and especially the carbohydrate metabolism in your body. They metabolize at a higher rate when you're in the air. So a snack like pretzels on a flight is really helpful because the salt helps you retain water, which we know that planes, because of that recirculating air, it really dries you out and dehydrates you. And then it also gives you a source of carbohydrate to work on metabolizing, which is being metabolized at a higher rate when you're flying. So these are like fun little tips and tricks that you can talk about with someone who specializes in food. But always, if you're traveling, prioritize hydration. I can't tell you how many times I talk with clients about bring an empty water bottle through TSA security and then save yourself some money from having to buy that $4 airport water bottle, and instead you have your own ready to go that you can refill up on the other side. And you have that as like a safety blanket for hydration throughout the trip. For every 1 hour you're in the air, you need an additional 1 cup of water. So a 4-hour flight, an additional 4 cups of water. So thank you for joining me tonight. I speak for the On Point team when I say we're really thankful for our On Point clients. Y'all are like family to us. And if you're not working with On Point yet, we'd love to have you join our family and help you strategize for your Thanksgiving and winter holidays. Hopefully after tonight's chat, you're feeling like you have some strategies and ways to make the wonderful moments outweigh the stressors. And again, as a little thank you gift, you'll get our Feel Good Holiday Season ebook. That'll be hitting your inboxes tomorrow. Are there any additional tips, tricks, strategies you'd like to add? Feel free to add them in the chat. Otherwise, I hope this gave you a taste of how you can take your normal traditional holiday routine and tweak it just a little bit to kind of make it better serve you. If you have a family member and you think that they're hosting and they need to know some of these little hacks, you can always have them come on our website, especially if you're an On Point member, and rewatch the webinar with them. Can you get copies of the slides? That's a great question. I will find out for you. I know that this is being recorded right now, so this will kind of live as a file to watch later, but I'm not sure if the specific slide presentation will be available, but it's a great question and I will find out and I'll have them address it in an email. Oh, yay. I'm so glad to hear that it's been helpful to people. It's fun to talk about this stuff. Like, yes, the holidays are super stressful, but it's really fun to kind of get into the spirit of it. And hopefully now you feel a little bit more relaxed just having a plan of some sort. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all the kind words. This is one of those chats where there's not a lot of like big questions to ask. So I get that, but I appreciate all the comments in here. I'm going to shut it down for the night. I hope everyone takes care. If your weather's changing like it is in Philly here, stay warm, and hopefully get to chat with some of you guys on call soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.